he's going to find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nicolas in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Only
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
But I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and approach he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll up the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of the line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin, Burma down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's just like trouble. He's not just second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Bill Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment.
So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Thursday nights for the Radical Race Series Round 8, Season 3 from Monza. I'm James Parfitt. Going to be joined in the booth by Nicolas Hilleband here this evening, who's going to come with me on what plans to be, I'm sure, an epic evening of racing at Monza. 5.75 kilometres in length, 3.6 miles there isn't any introduction really needed for this circuit. It is just world-renowned. It's straight. It's a few wigglies, straights, another set of wigglies, and a few more straights. But we've got an 8-lap sprint race, 14-lap feature here as well. And, well, after last week at Silverstone, we are in for some great racing, I'm sure. Let's bring you up the current standings. James Barry's out in front by 1 point over Simon Edwards, and Luke Maxwell in third with George Gonzaga in fourth. John McCutcheon, Mike Bousson and Paul Clark are all tied on 137, and Jamie Bird and Damien G are 8th for 9th with Phil Glover in 10th place. And we've got Michael LeMay, Seth Brown, David Beasley, Paul Crabb, Graham Brown, Martina Ward, Joseph Emmett and Robert Woodward. Some of them at the bottom haven't completed many races. And then Phil Jocelyn and David Rolliston beyond that one. Well, it's going to be exciting. We are in Italy. We are at Monza. And let's hear what Nico thinks about it here as well. Nico, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Absolutely excellent here. And how couldn't I be at the original Temple of Speed opened back in 1922 in Monza? Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing absolutely great. We've got a bigger grid here again. And these cars around this track, that should be absolutely fantastic to watch, James.
Yeah, I think so as well. SR10s just, well, I can absolutely do this track. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It makes me wish I was on circuit in this car because it will be absolutely epic. However, Nico, Prima Variante, first chicane, do we think we can make it through cleanly?
Ooh, okay. Now you're asking the difficult questions, because this is, of course, one of these, I'd say, most crash-prone corners in motorsport. Not just in sim racing, but motorsport in real life as well. Simply because you get down there, as we see with Phil Glover right now, such high speed, you know, a fairly wide track. All of a sudden, everything gets more and more narrow, and then we get to here, which is very narrow and essentially almost a double hairpin.
Yeah, it's a very tight right-left. Now, this is on the official schedule. My advice would be for anybody watching at home who wants to go and race these cars at Monza, tell you what, start at the back, give them all about 30 seconds head start, and then go out. And by that point, you probably would have made up about 10 places from the back end to the front end. Because I can tell you, in officials, a lot of people will terminate themselves in that first chicane, and it wouldn't be the last time, and it wouldn't be the first time, sorry, and it wouldn't be the last time. It would be exactly the same as if you were also give you the advice there as well. Sit at the back and let them go out and then terminate themselves. But this is no different, Monza. For some reason, Nico, Monza just becomes an absolute nightmare in certain, well, leagues, in certain officials, down in that turn one. What is it about that first Prima Variante chicane that people just can't get right, I suppose, off the start?
I think it's a difficult question to answer. I mean, if you compare older variants of the Variante, you know, it used to be like a double chicane that was way more open, but it wasn't as great for overtaking opportunities. So they brought this in, thought, hey, this looks fantastic on paper, but it also just promotes this drive, so to say, you know, to just go for that move down the inside, to be the turn one hero. And I mean, we know this from F1 already quite a lot, you know. Ferrari goes down the inside of turn one, and all the Tifosi go absolutely wild in the grandstands, you know, and I think that's just as we have a little bit of a drift coming out of Variante Ascari back there. You know, everyone here is obviously in this racing mindset, and they're very keen on making their moves as quickly as possible. And with this long straight out of the Parabolica, just down this long straight, as it is so wide as well, you know, everyone is basically just going, well, we could go 3 wide down here. I can brake later than these guys, and all of a sudden you have a bit of a lockup, maybe even a rear lockup, or touch the grass a little bit, and all of a sudden it turns out that you couldn't brake later than those 2 guys.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's realizing your limits, and one of your limits is the fact that you're not going to go from first to last in turn one. We say it multiple times, and we say it in multiple different broadcasts, and we say it across multiple different series, but there's always that person, you know, who does have it, you know, who does literally feel like he's going to go from last to first in turn one. But this series is different. They seem to survive a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it also depends on, you know, how big the league is, you know, if the drivers know each other, because as soon as you have this, well, to put it bluntly, esports aspect, you know, where you have a lot of guys, they're racing for prize money, for example, you know, and everything is on the line for them, then that motivates people to do a bit more aggressive and messy moves into Prima Variante. But knowing these guys, you know, in our wonderful Radical Race series here, these guys know each other, you know, they've raced with each other quite a lot on track already, and even the front runners, you know, even our James Barry, Simon Edwards, Luke Maxwell, you know, all of them know each other on track. They know how late they can brake, they know these cars and everything. So I'm convinced, you know, we won't have any like huge crashes into turn one, for example. I think they'll put on quite a good show for us here today.
Well, there you go, guys. Let's hope we do see an absolutely epic show as the first times are coming in qualifying. Simon Edwards, 143.405. Maxwell, 143.648. Now, I think one of the things I would be looking to benefit from, if I could, would be the people that are behind. I believe that is Phil Glover there, using Phil for the draft as much as possible here, Nico. Yes, it would give you an inconsistent time to your race pace, but it would probably give you a nice little decent position on the grid for the first race.
Oh, that's absolutely guaranteed. I mean, if you recall a couple of years back, we had F1 qualifying session in Q3 basically end, well, under red flag for a moment and then get restarted last minute. And everyone was at first, you know, hurrying to actually get to the line, and all of a sudden, at the end of the corners and stuff, you know, everyone started backing off, like, wanting to get that toe. Because, especially around here at Monza, you know, you have the first entire section, Parabolica to Prima Variante, then the entire part through Curva Grande to Seconda Variante, then from the Lesmos down to Ascari, and from Ascari to Parabolica. You have so many long straights where you can benefit from these absolutely insane slipstreams that you can catch here, and it's just too delicious to pass up, so to say.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it, with this, the way this circuit runs. Simon Edwards setting pace there, Luke Maxwell in behind him, Paul LeMay doing a great job sitting in third place at this moment in time. Edwards again over the line on a 143.155 this time, absolutely flying. Paul Clark has got a purple in sector 3. He puts himself up into fourth place. A great job from Paul. Graham Brown, David Beasley, Seth Brown, James Barry. No times on the board for last season's champion at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, right now he has to look out a bit, because Simon Edwards, Luke Maxwell, you know, a lot of the guys around him, and John McHutchinson as well. McHutchinson losing a couple of rounds, I think, from vacation and other date clashes, of course. A lot of these guys are quite close to his pace, and of course, you know, he has this confidence of being the old champion. He's, you know, a couple of tenths still off here, you know. And that's the thing. Like, it's a double-edged sword, because he has the confidence that he can drive these cars very fast. He can drive it very consistently. But of course, there's also this pressure. He's the defending champion. He has something to lose.
Yeah, well, he's just got to put it in second place. So, you know, if you want to answer your critics, you might as well do it by putting it in second. I want to keep an eye on Mr. Clark here. He's got another purple on the board in sectors 2. Yellow in sectors 3, but it depends what the offset was against the purple. There's still maybe an opportunity he might be able to improve from his 6th place on a 143.9 at the moment. So Paul Clark doing a great job. Paul LeMay is another one. He's curving around the Curva Parabolica, which is the Michele Alboreto Curva Parabolica now. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it is that exactly. And then Paul LeMay, what are you going to be able to do here? Are you going to move yourself up from the 4th place? You're not. Is Paul Clark going to move himself up anytime soon? I don't believe he is. I think he ran off track towards the final end of the corner. Phil Glover's got some greens on the board. He's going faster and faster and faster here as well. And he's going to be going over the line now. The line is literally up there. So let's see what Phil does on this one. 1:45.325, his best lap, but no improvement on position at the moment. Coming to the end of that qualifying, tyres start going off, pace not quite where it should be.
I think pace is honestly quite good already. You know, a couple of these guys obviously still trying to catch a bit of slipstream. Time is running out, of course. Simon Edwards is looking in a very, very comfy spot right now because without slipstream, it's, I'd honestly say, pretty difficult to gain, you know, around 4/10 around this track. As Phil Glover a little bit too aggressive through the chicane, but keeps it out of the wall. And yeah, it's all down to if they can't get a slipstream, they have to try and somehow get such a clean run in that they basically just completely, you know, make up that time in the corners, which of course is a huge pressure point here since there isn't that many corners to make that amount of time up in here.
No, we've got two slow chicanes. We've got quite fast right-handers in the Lesmo 1 and 2s. Then we've got the Ascari, which, as we know, is not a slow chicane. It's quite a fast-paced chicane. And then they've got the curve of Barabolica, and that's not really a sudden stop either, is it? Let's be real about it. So, you know, there's a lot to sort of try and contend with here, and there's no real great sudden stops overtaking positions unless you're going to be very, very brave down into the Valle Prima Variante. So I suppose we'll see where these guys make these overtakes. I believe if they all get over the line very, very shortly, they will all get to finish their lap. Graham Brown with an improvement, not a position improvement there. What about Mr. Gonzaga here? How is he doing at the moment? That's James Barry, I believe, in front of him. He's going to come over the line. Gonzaga's probably going to be the one that's going to improve on this time. If he does, 1:43.818 into 5th place. So that's the end of qualifying. Some great lap times there, Nico, for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, we do have to remember, you know, qualifying is only, well, the first step here. We have 2 races to look forward to. The first one with 8 laps and the second one with 14. So I think that'll also maybe come into accounting if these guys can make their times last. We know very much that a few of the guys here, and I'm sure that's, you know, our frequent viewers already know, who love to run absolutely lowest downforce possible. So this will be interesting in the longer race.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon Edwards is the man on pole with James Barry in second, then Luke Maxwell, Paul LeMay and George Gonzaga. Then Paul Clark, Graham Brown, Seth Brown, Mike Bousson, Jamie Bird, David Beasley and Michael LeMay. And then going on from that, you've got 2 more of Phil Glover and Damien G. Well, guys, buckle up and let's see how these guys get on once more here as we're going to tackle the circuit of Monza. It's, yeah, it could be either absolutely amazing or it could be absolutely chaotic and catastrophic by the time we get down into turn 1. Nico, I'm hoping for the first one.
Yeah, I mean, everyone here wants a clean race, you know. These guys are capable of delivering it, as we saw with Silverstone as well, with them almost banging wheels through high-speed sections, but, you know, still very respectful towards each other. And, yeah, I'm honestly just looking forward to seeing another fantastic race here at this iconic home of motorsports in Italy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, buckle up, guys, because we are just about to get running here. Simon Edwards sitting on pole at this moment in time, waiting patiently for Mike Bousson, who's traditionally late, and Damien G, who is on the grid, I believe, ready to go. I'm not too sure why he's not. I'm sure he is. That's him at the back on the right-hand side. Or it could be... Nope, that's actually Phil Glover. So it is Damien G we're just waiting on. He's got about 20 more seconds here. Right. Nope, still not here. Not long to go, Mr. G, just to let you know.
Taking the sweet time, you know, like a quick little break before the race, you know, to try and calm the nerves down a bit.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to miss it. He is going to miss it, Damien G. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Ladies and gentlemen, round 8 is up and running from Monza. I think Damien G did just make it. James Barry gets the whole long shot down into turn one. These guys come racing down now. Barry is there, Edwards is there, Maxwell is there, Gonzaga's there, Paul Clark is there. He's on the inside on the exit. He gets the job done. Seth Brown gets a little bit bullied out there. Mike Bousson gets the position away from him, but everybody at the moment made it through cleanly here, Nicolas, and they're all doing a great job at this current time.
Absolutely, but now we're also seeing the first moves being made. Can he actually get alongside? Not quite. Round the outside into Seconda Variante is quite difficult to do, especially with the sausage cuts on the apexes. But James Barry holds on to the lead for now. But of course, Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell, his two main rivals here right now in the championship, right on his tail and not waiting to mess about.
Yeah, absolutely, I do agree. Matt, in YouTube chat, can you join the lead? It's head over to radicalracers.com. And I believe there is a Discord invite on there ready for you, so you can get yourself involved in that. And I believe there's also links down in the description below. But James Barry, Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell, this is iRacing, dear sir. So you need to possess iRacing first, of course, and the cars and tracks that are coming within this league environment. But Luke Maxwell now closing in on Simon Edwards. We know Simon has probably got a 0 wing or next to nothing win. It looks like Mike Bousson's had a bit of a moment at the back end there. That he was coming through. Currently, Variante Ascari will just have another. Whoa, we already lost it before Variante Ascari. Oh no, it was like literally going through Ascari and then goes and loses it here as well. But I want to get back up to the front end. Simon Edwards running side by side. Three wide. James Barry, Luke Maxwell, Simon Edwards. Edwards does take the lead of the race. He overcooks it. Oh, he just got it all wrong there, Nico.
Yeah, as I said, you know, all of these guys are very sure, you know, oh, I can break later than these guys. Sure he can, but he didn't quite make the corner there. I was about to say, and Barry loses both positions, but yeah, it turns out that instead Edwards lost out completely there. Obviously has to slow down as well. Maxwell now having to defend against Gonzaga, Barry's teammate, and Gonzaga looking in P4 in the championship, obviously looking at Luke Maxwell as his main challenger to catch right now.
Yeah, he is. Gonzaga's trying. He could do with trying to clear Maxwell. Maxwell could do with him not trying to clear him. Edwards is behind Paul Clark, and we know how traditional Paul Clark can be trying to get past. He's like the immovable object there at times, is Mr. Clark. So this could be quite an interesting recovery from Edwards. At the moment, the man on pole is Phil Glover. He's going to be coming under the bridge very shortly. He's got Michael LeMay running side by side. Paul LeMay is there as well. I'm wondering if Paul did go off. He did go off here, and it looks like he got it all a little bit wrong just after the start for Paul LeMay. Slow, looks like he may have got a bump on there and unfortunately put himself at the back end of the field. So Luca Gonzaga got to be a little bit closer. The draft is strong, but it ain't 7/10 strong. And James, I thought James Barry was going into the pits there.
Yeah, not quite. You want to run as tight as possible here, of course. And these guys will not waste any centimeter of space if they can help it. But of course, we look behind Simon Edwards and Paul Clark, actually right on top of each other as well, right behind Paulo Gonzaga. And Gonzaga is also getting a bit closer, of course, to Maxwell, as you said, but that gap is not quite enough, of course.
Yeah, not enough. It's got to be a little bit closer for the draft to really for it to really kick in. Jamie Bird is there. Paul Clark has been overtaken by Edwards. Edwards got the job done on Clark. Probably suggested it's down into Prima Variante. Oh, Clark was slow. Oh, Paul Clark was slow. He was slow on the exit. And it looks like he just checked up enough. And unfortunately, don't think Jamie Bird had anywhere to go. There we go. Oh, I think Paul was trying to collect a slide. And Bird just had nowhere to go apart from in the back end of him. And he is down the order. Where are you, Mr. Clark, at the moment? Down in 8th. But Gonzaga, Maxwell, Edwards closing in again. Bird is there again, as so is Seth Brown here. Oh, somebody spat out dust. Oh, Jamie Bird. Whoa.
Jamie Bird. Oh, keeps it. Has to keep it on the wall. No. Oh, and it actually flips it as well.
No way.
And everything has gone upside down, quite literally in some cases, yeah.
Did he dig it in? Oh, Jamie. Over you go, son.
Yeah, just one of these slightly awkward angles that you can hit one of the tire walls at, and yeah, even with the low center of gravity, the momentum just stopped, the side momentum wants to carry on, and, well, luckily these cars have roll bars.
Yeah, I do agree, and good job it ain't real life, because that would have been very, very interesting, but at least he landed on his feet. Beasley's just cleared Clark, the LeMay brothers here. Paul is now in front of Michael. Phil's in there as well, Mr. Glover himself, he's tucked in, but at the moment, Paul Clark and David Beasley going side by side once more here, and Beasley's got that inside line. Is he going to be able to get past Clark, close to the right-hand side? Clark comes again, covers him off, half and half, in to the second variante now, left we go, now right, is it going to be, again, it's going to be as they were this time, Nicolas, for this one.
Yeah, and they're looking forced to make a move. Paul Clark, obviously, with the damaged car. And I think, as you said, he's trying to catch a slide, taking a little bit too much sausage curve on the left hand of Seconda Varianta. But, yeah, I mean, in this situation, I would have done pretty much the same. He tries to catch the slide, doesn't want to lose the rear end. But, of course, right behind him, Jamie Bird can't anticipate that, and it's just, yeah, quite literally an unavoidable contact in that situation, because I don't think anyone could have reacted any differently there.
Yeah, Jamie Bird's not got cat-like, is he? Let's be real about it. And Paul Clark's getting picked off, I think, by Paul LeMay. See his head moving in, and this car, of course, to the right as it goes around the right corner. The G's are pulling him in. Now he's going to try and go once more. He's close to close right up. Paul LeMay, look.
Yeah, that contact, especially the second one with the wall, the first contact, you could argue that was pretty much just that wedge shape of the front of the Radical just digging under the car. But the second one, that is the critical one here, I think, hitting the back of the rear wing, and that will cause quite a lot of drag that I don't think he can recover from very easily. And very probably trying to hold on to the position right now. Obviously, Maxwell, this was a quite nice showcase very quickly, yeah, of the different lines you can take through Parabolica, because you could see how Maxwell went a little bit deeper, but took more momentum. So Barry gained for a little bit of a moment, but then as soon as, the benefit of taking a shorter route through the corner is outweighed by taking more momentum through it, Maxwell just started pulling away again. But then, of course, we get the slipstream kicking in, and James Barry getting back up again, which is just the beauty of Monza. You have this constant tug of war, push and pull, so to say, between the cars at the front and the back.
Where would you want to be in this race right now? Do you want to be Maxwell, or do you want to be Barry?
I'd honestly want to be Barry. Quite honestly, because, with Luke Maxwell, I have a quite fast driver in front of me. I have a confident driver in front of me that knows what he's doing, evidently by, his results in the series so far, by what we've seen in the series from him so far. And that basically guarantees to me, hey, there's only, just over 3 laps, just over 2 laps left now. I can hang on in the slipstream if I do well, if I just keep consistent, and then for the last lap, I can make my move and get ahead of him just before the finish line.
Yeah, however, I will say Barry did get it a little bit wrong coming out of Lesmo 2 there and lost a little bit of time, but the draft was strong and pulled him back in. Edwards 1.1 out. We're focusing on the battle up front at the moment. Maxwell and Barry coming into the Parabolica now. Barry is the second car with the yellow and black on board with him, as you can see here. Now, this is where I expect this draft to start kicking in for James Barry. He's closing in, 4 temps he goes. Now he's going to start rocketing through the temps. Free, there you go, down to 2.5. So, to be fair though, Nico, it's got to be about 2.5 temps to get that overtake done.
Yeah, and staying into that 2.5 tenth zone, I'd say you basically have to be within 4 tenths when you get out of the Lesmos, and then through Ascari basically be at the 2/10 post, which is of course a little bit difficult as well, or well, not just a little bit difficult because it's a high-speed corner complex, to then make a move into the final corner, or alternatively, make a move early on in the lap and then try to shake them with slightly offset racing line with a little bit more focus on giving them dirty air in the most inopportune moments possible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the case, isn't it? Weaving as best you possibly can. I know Maxwell's not really a fan. To be honest, I've never seen him really do much weaving, to be blatantly honest with you, in all the times I've been here for Luke Maxwell, so maybe that's not going to be an option. But we'll have to see how he gets on. He's going to have one more lap after this one, which basically means it's all or nothing for James Barry now. Does he look at when does he look at making his move if he's going to go for it down into the Prima Variante?
It's difficult to say honestly, because there's so many opportunities that you can do it here, but at the same time those opportunities count for your opponent of course as well. You can counter quite easily around here, and right now it's getting a little bit critical, and James Barry obviously in striking distance a little bit faster in the last lap than Maxwell, but even faster, who's left behind that? That's Simon Edwards, who's very, very enthusiastically closed an over 1 second gap down to now 6 tenths. If these two guys don't look out, then Edwards will be all over them by the end of the lap.
Yeah, exactly. Seth Brown there and Paul LeMay. LeMay has just cleared Brown. It still leaves Mike Bousson in pole position. Maxwell and Barry running side by side in the second Variante. That's going to be Barry's corner, I believe. Barry's going to go through. Now this could be a freeway fight, and the man in the move in the best position is probably Simon Edwards, coming along this back straight, the curve of the Saglio, and down into the curve of Parabolica. He's going to get 2 help-ins of the draft there.
Yeah, and before we get to bump drafting, the actual physical contact, we also have arrow pushing. So if the car behind you is close enough behind you, it actually accelerates you a little bit as well, because it optimizes your drag as well.
Well, here they go.
So, tight. That is tight.
Yeah, Maxwell comes down the other side. There's only one corner remaining now. Barry's he hasn't got an option. Maxwell's hugging the inside line like his favourite. He's going forward now as well. Last corner of the run. Who's going to be able to get this? Is Barry going to dive around the outside? Is he going to try it through the curve of Parabolica? He is. The line's not very far down. It's going to be a run between Luke Maxwell. It's going to be a run between James Barry. While you're there, Simon Edwards throws his hat into the ring. It was Barry. Barry by a nose over Maxwell. And oh my dearie me. Let's have a look at that one. Because that
gap
was not a lot. Is that what you're going to say?
That gap, my goodness me, that's extraordinary.
Oh.
That's the NASCAR finishing gap there.
Yeah. That's basically what it looked like coming from the end there of these guys. Look at that. Barry, Maxwell and Edwards, take a bow, because there is not a lot between the two of you on that one. Great job from them guys. Whew. That was just incredibly close. We wait for Jamie Bird to come round and just finish it off there as well. That was a very tight ending to what was a very interesting race. But let's bring you up the results of race number 1. Barry is your winner by Maxwell, by Simon Edwards. Look at the gap, 0.024 of a second over the front three. Then George Gonzaga and Graham Brown. Then Paul LeMay, Phil Glover, Paul Clark, Mike Bousson in 9th. Michael LeMay will be on pole for race number 2 in 10th. And Seth Brown, Jamie Bird, David Beasley, and unfortunately for Damien G, ended up towards the back there as well. I don't really feel we can say a lot about that race, Nico, apart from great racing and an astonishing ending.
Pretty much. I mean, we had our few odd moments, but you're going to have those in every race. You know, everyone is pushing on the max, of course. They clip a sausage cup slightly wrong, and it's just going to happen, you know? I think that especially those that did have these errors are now going to be very keenly aware of, you know, the mistakes they made, the places where they made the mistakes. So they're going to be a little bit more careful as well, I presume. Which, you know, either that's good on them because the others will attack it aggressively and make mistakes themselves, or bad on them because, of course, if you don't attack it as aggressively, you'll lose time in general.
Yeah, I do agree, but I think now you've got a longer race. Can you be a little bit more savvy, I suppose, more patient with the way that you do the second race?
I wouldn't necessarily say so. You know, it's after all, like, it's still only 14 laps. We have 1 3/4 of a minute of a lap time here, so even though it is almost twice the distance of the sprint race, you know, the feature, especially with our reverse grid now, usually invites for, well, the same kind of action, just, you know, a bit longer.
Yeah, we're going to see more of it. I think that's, you know, that's where we're going to end up going on there. You know, we are going to see more great racing, but the grid is up before race number 2. The warm-up's just coming to the end here, so we'll be able to check out the grid and who will be on that pole position. It is Michael LeMay, then Mike Bousson, Paul Clark, Phil Glover, and Paul LeMay. Then we've got Graham Brown in 6th, George Gonzaga, Simon Edwards, Luke Maxwell, James Barry, Seth Brown, and Jamie Bird. So there we go. On from that one, let's see if we can get it down a little bit further. Thank you. And then David Beasley and Damien G towards the back end once more. I'd be interested to see what happens with Mike Bousson here, partly because Mike didn't really look like he had the pace in that race.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most difficult things, you know. Bousson is one of those guys that is generally quite fast, and well, generally quite fast, but can be invited for mistakes. Sometimes from his teammates as well, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, to Road Atlanta, where he got the advice from, who was it? I think Mr. Maxwell? Or was it Mr. Edwards with the refueling advice?
It was Mr. Maxwell, and he gave him the wrong advice, and gave Edwards the wrong... Whoa! Not quite sure where Mike went there, but he didn't go very far, very quickly. And Paul Glover got an absolute stormer with Phil Glover coming down as well. I'm not sure what happened to Mike Bousson, but he is literally sandwiched on the outside. They're trying to go 2 and 3 wide. Further back, Seth Brown, Simon Edwards. Seth's trying to avoid him to the curb there as much as he can. Barry's down in 8th place, up 2 places. He's trying to go alongside Seth Brown now in the pink and green machine, but I can't even answer what happened to this man. He didn't even go anywhere, Nico.
Yeah, completely messed up the start, and it looked to me for a moment as if he had maybe like a bit of a connection issue just for a moment, you know, maybe a bit of a packet loss. So well, maybe the lights bugged out for him because of that, but yeah, that was the complete reverse of a Bottas start. You know, the lights were out for what seemed like almost a second when he finally got going.
Yeah, that was just unbelievably bizarre. Trying to find out, catch up to him and see what happened. Paul LeMay is now out in front of Paul Clark in second, Maxwell in third. Phil Glover needs to be careful there. So if he does that again, he gets a nose alongside him, he's going to be in trouble. But here comes Simon Edwards again, doing an absolutely stellar job in that pink livery traditional machine that we've seen from Simon. Oh, you're going to try and go free wide on the grass. He did go free wide. Poor old Phil Glover just got split like an apple, and they've just gone all the way round either side of him there, Nico. I don't even know what Paul could have done about that, to be honest.
All he could do there was leave the space, and that he did absolutely fantastically, even with the half car width that we basically had on the side where I'm pretty sure that was Gonzaga going on board with him. Was it Edwards? I think it was Edwards, wasn't it?
Yeah, who went either side of him?
I'm just getting completely confused now with all the guys going three wide. But yeah, really well done from both of them involved. And now LeMay and Maxwell looking to hustle and tussle a little bit as well. Paul Clark is looking in the back, and at the point where he had his unfortunate moment in race one, now looking to capitalize off the guys in front making a move and getting in the slipstream range.
Yeah, how close or how ferocious does Phil Glover want to be over a man that provides him setups each week, and he tweaks them to sort him out? This could be an interesting one from Phil. Decisions for Mr. Phil Glover. If he can get hold of the drive from Mr. Edwards, he might be able to hold some pace with him. However, we know how quick he is. Gonzaga's decided he needs to go, and he's gone already up the inside of Mr. Glover through the exit of Valiante Ascari there, and they've still got 1.4 seconds on the road to Paul Clark. We've got almost, it feels like almost a DRS train. Brown's trying to go up the inside of Phil Glover.
Almost 4 wide, looks like. Just slightly offset there. Seth Brown not quite able to make a move. Glover still stays in front right now, but actually getting a really, really good run down the inside there. Now has the slipstream from Gonzaga ahead. And Brown actually makes the move stick. Really well done from him, but now James Barry coming down the inside and right behind him. It's another one.
Yeah,
not quite able to make the move.
Yeah, Mike Boost on there as well. Did an absolutely stellar job. Whoa, Beasley! Oh! Whoa!
I think there was a big lock up there to just jump over the anti-cuts. Whee! Okay.
Carries far too much, doesn't he?
I think he missed his braking marker.
You think?
I have this thinking feeling.
Oh, he did, look. David Beasley. Well done for avoiding everybody else, but boy, oh boy, that was close for you there, sir. As Paul LeMay and Paul Clark now. Bousson's just cleared Gonzaga, I believe, and it's now Gonzaga and Barry. They're going to obviously swap positions, I would have thought. Seth Brown is trying to get a hold of Gonzaga as well. I do wonder if Gonzaga had a slowdown then. He lost quite a lot of positions in quick succession. In fact, he actually lost 4 positions in succession. So I think Gonzaga may have had a slowdown on that one. But some great action still going on, and these guys doing an absolutely stellar job going up towards the Parabolica.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the 52. Clark getting passed by Edwards. Not much he could do there in that situation. Edwards basically doing a picture-perfect move down the inside, and then using enough momentum to, take the momentum around the outside. And Clark actually coming to the pit lane. What's that about?
Can't answer that question. But let's see what Seth Brown and Jamie Bird are going to do. They're going to split Mike Bousson. Bousson's now going to try out the inside going into the first chicane. He's going to get there. Can he get the run out though? He's lost that position to Barry. He holds that position in from Brown. And Mike Bousson only loses 1. I'm not sure why Paul Clark. He hasn't stopped, mind you. He went straight through, so maybe he had a drive-through penalty for off-track limits on this one.
Well, that would be quite unfortunate. Maybe even from a couple of netcode contacts, with the 4X obviously bringing you quite quickly a lot closer to set incident limit, which should be 15x. But nevertheless, drive-through penalty, especially around here, it's so devastating, because with other certain racetracks, you have, of course, either shorter pit lanes or even sometimes longer ones, but yeah, they usually don't go just down a straight line where you already enter at quite high speed, and obviously because the entire section is flat, it's a very long straight. You lose the certain amount of time as well. I think another good example of that would actually be Imola.
Yeah, you might be right on that one. Simon Edwards closing in on Paul LeMay. Maxwell's out in front by about 7/10. Can Mr. LeMay hang on? What's going on to the back of Bousson and Barry? Well, they're as they are. What about Bird here? Well, he's as he's... he is where he is as well. So, great job just keeping it on track for James Barry this time around. LeMay could be under the cosh from Simon Edwards. He is coming down into turn one. Edwards is going to get through. What's going to happen behind him? Bousson, he managed to hold on to that position. What goes on behind that? They're still all as they are, and Mike Bousson has gone round. Mike Bousson has gone round. Not a great second race. He had a bad first one, and now he's going to have a even worse second one. What happened? Did he just over... No, there was contact. There was contact there.
I do wonder about that.
Can't do...
I mean, contact for sure, but it looked a bit weird. I mean, it looked like he probably tried to slow Barry down a little bit for the second one. Or maybe... okay, no. Losing the rear end, that was it. And trying to catch it, loses all of his momentum. Barry obviously almost no time, or like in the middle of the corner, you can't really just slam on the brakes lest you want to spin yourself or just lock up to the front. So yeah, that was world's slowest disaster happening in front of him.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do agree as well. It's one of them awkward moments, isn't it, where you're just sort of trickling and then you think, oh, what's going to happen? And unfortunately, well, what did happen is James Barry couldn't stop the car in time, and Mike Bousson goes around. But I'm just wondering what this man's going to do. He's in prime position here, Mr. Gonzaga, to see if he can get both of these guys in front with Brown and Barry here.
Yeah, Gonzaga is in a prime position there, but if he can actually do it, yeah, that's the problem. He's slightly out of the slipstream there. And of course, I told you with the arrow push, obviously the guy behind gets the slipstream, but the guy in front, if they drive close enough together, also has his overall car drag a little bit optimized, so he also accelerates a bit. So all of a sudden, the two cars that Gonzaga was trying to overtake, they start pulling away from him, and he's basically just standing there going, what's going on here?
It didn't... For the perspective of what I've seen from it is the aggressiveness of the body language of the car, and it didn't look like Gonzaga had any aggressiveness of the car. It didn't look like he was nestled in behind. It didn't look like he was trying to go into the slipstream much at all. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit weird for me with that one on Gonzaga. I don't feel that there was an aggressive moment. However, now is an aggressive moment, and that was the difference. Then you see the body language of the car. He was more aggressive then than he was going down the start-finish line.
Yeah, though in fairness, you also have to say, what else can you do? Like, you can't really show too much aggressiveness when you're on a straight, Yeah. So you always have to wage it off a little bit, risk and rewards, If you start getting out-dragged again, do you want to try and jank quickly right behind them, or do you want to go in a bit smoother so you don't maybe lose a kilometer an hour or 2 or 3 from the aggressive movement?
Yeah, I don't know. But what's going to happen with Bird and Brown? Nothing. Brown's going to still hold on to that position. Bird's going to tuck in once more here. They're coming round. Good evening, Phil. Thank you so much for joining us. Round Curva Bassano now into the second variante. Jamie Bird is closing in on the back of Seth Brown. Brown goes almost on the defensive early, manages to hold the position. Bird's going to try and go around the outside. There's going to be a squeeze all day because of the way the exit is. Both men make it through though, but they're still running side by side here, Nico.
Yeah, and I always feel kind of bad, because I feel like I'm being a bit too partial as a commentator. But Jamie Bird's livery is just my favorite one in the field because I absolutely love the old Shadow Racing liveries. So, getting a quite good move done into Lesmo 1 and completing it through Lesmo 2. But of course, that also takes away momentum. You can see the gap that opened up to Gonzaga. And now he has to try and get close again to him, while Gonzaga tries to close that gap in front of him of 1.3 seconds. So right now, Bird has the advantage that Gonzaga ahead doesn't get any slipstream, but he himself is, in striking distance by Brown, who's now pulling out and making a move. And can he make it stick now?
There was contact. There was contact. I want to jump up here really quickly. The three leaders are literally separated by not a lot. Paul LeMay's decided I'm going to have it. He's going to try and go up the side. We've got 6.5 laps remaining. Paul LeMay does get the job done. Now, one Simon Edwards is probably sitting in the car thinking, yes, go on, Paul. Because he wants that car in between him. He needs that car in between him and Luke Maxwell. Just purely because of the fact that, he almost feels, I suppose, from his perspective, Luke's more of a threat to him than Paul would be. Paul's quick, no doubt about it, but I think Luke might just be a little bit quicker.
And that's... Paul LeMay is basically in a precarious position right now. In practice before the qualifying, it was actually second fastest off the grid, I think. But that might also have been with some slipstream, and he's obviously right now in between quite literally a rock and a hard place, with both drivers around him insanely quick, and they can basically just focus on fighting away right now because all three of them are 6 seconds clear of James Barry. It's just around 5 laps to go if I do my math correctly. Then again, I'm a commentator. I'm not getting, I'm not getting my kicks from math. I'm getting my kicks from the racing.
I was going to say, mate, us commentating and trying to do math doesn't work. I've tried it thousands of times now, and I just cannot get it right. So I think, though, we're in the borderline of what we saw last time, right? What we saw from the front three last time of Edwards, of Barry, of Maxwell. We're in that stage. Paul LeMay's just decided he's going to go for it. So, Luke! Oh, Luke! You went in far too hot potato. Oh, did he get squeezed or did he just go in far too hot here? Paul LeMay's already covering. Here's the overspeed now. Maxwell thinks he's got room. He's hard on the brakes. Oh. But the problem with that is both men are going to get a slowdown. And now Edwards is out in front by 3.3 seconds.
Yeah, and Edwards will absolutely love that because not only is he now pretty much leading uncontested and could just watch his two main competitors for this race, uncompete themselves, but, look who's behind them, James Barry, his main rival, and he has to get through both of them first as well.
He's not Barry, and no disrespect, he's not going to get to the front. Now, I'm not saying he might not be in distance of Luke Maxwell. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think he's well out of the distance of Simon Edwards here. Now, one of the advantages LeMay and Edwards has got, if anybody watches NASCAR, when you put two cars together, they go quicker than the one in front. So these guys would expect to be able to close sometime, but they've got to work together now. They can't be doing the squabbling that they have been.
I do wonder, they will obviously try to work together, but they obviously have contact, so I'm wondering if maybe there's also a little bit of aero damage. But, you know, only time will tell, quite literally, even though we don't have too much time left in this race.
Yeah, Phil Glover and Bird. Glover did not look like the intention was quite there to make the move on that one. I think from this perspective, they need to, if they've got the pace, well, they haven't. They've lost about 3 temps just going through that last sector. So I think it could be, yeah, it could be a bit of a struggle if they're losing temps at a time here for Luke Maxwell and also Simon Edwards. Do you know what I mean? I think looking at the free, I think we put that on a free-weight split. Edwards 1:45.3. The other guys lost 3.5 seconds. Obviously, we know that was due to the contact. So we'll see what they can do on this lap and whether or not they can put out any time over him. But I think they've got to stop that. I think they've got to stop the squabbling.
And, I mean, it's difficult for them because obviously they want to keep their position. Well, Maxwell wants to gain a position, obviously doesn't want to get left behind by Edwards, but with the damage they have now, they don't really have a choice. I'm pretty sure Edwards at the end of straights is even coasting a little bit, as the gap only drops down then, and then he just starts gaining it for the majority of the straight again. But they will have to watch out, because right now the gap is still there to Barry. It's 2.3 seconds. But last lap it was 2.4, and you know, if they squabble too much, we know how quickly these gaps go down.
Well, they've just lost 4 temps for LeMay and 3 temps for Maxwell over the lead car of Simon Edwards, so they're still going slower than Mr. Edwards here. Who's out in front, of course, all of his own. Nobody fighting, nobody squabbling, and is free all day to do whatever he wants. Now, whether or not Luke Maxwell's got the pace to go near LeMay, the time will only tell on that one. Bird is up, well, he's got Brown very, 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 very close here. Bird there coming towards us. Is it going to be Brown? Yes, but they made it through that corner side by side in the last race as well, Nico. So these guys showing great respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we also have the advantage that these cars are a lot more compact than, let's say, for comparison, GT3 cars or F1 cars, or the hypercars that run around here with the WEC as well. But, you know, these guys, they use all of the road they have. And it's absolutely wonderful to see them, you know, utilize all of their weapons at their disposal, so to say.
Yeah, I agree.
They're changing positions again as they come into Ascari. It's wonderful.
Somebody's had a problem here.
Oh, Maxwell went down behind Barry.
Yeah, how did he get there? I'm wondering if he's got a slowdown here. Yep. That is what we call a slowdown. And did he get it coming through the Lesmo? Well, this is the first one. It's that off. It's going to be that wide. It's got to be. What did he? Oh, it looks like he
already
may have it already. So what's
it? I guess through Seconda Variante.
Yeah, the second one. I think he got it through there for Luke Maxwell. So this is where, obviously. Oh no, we're going to need to go forward a little bit from that. That's a long way back from where it was. But he's clearly picked up something, Luke Maxwell, and unfortunately, it cost him big style here because he lost a bunch of time, and now he's tucked in behind Barry. So for Luke Maxwell, he's going to have to try and go again here, Nico, and that's not going to be easy to try and recover.
Yeah, absolutely won't be easy. I'd say, you know, his situation went from bad to worse from that collision to then having this slowdown as well. Losing touch with LeMay, and I mean, Barry's now definitely at a striking distance for that, unless LeMay makes the same mistake. So, yeah, now a battle for P2 for Luke Maxwell became a battle for P3 against one of his championship rivals.
I don't think he's got the pace.
Yeah, I think he's barely holding on right now, so I think there's definitely some aero damage, you know, adding a bit more drag, losing him a little bit more downforce. I mean, since he kind of touched at the front or with the sides, I would guess that it's probably front splitter damage. So, excessive understeer is something that you really just don't want around here.
Yeah, you just can't. If you look on the draft, it's 158, 160. Barry's already on 161. Maxwell's, okay, so now he's getting it a little bit more, but he just doesn't seem to be able to get close enough to that situation. And I think for Maxwell, he's got to, I don't know what he's got to do on that 13 to be honest, because they've only got one more to go.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, especially with how we saw that the acceleration is affected. Maxwell will basically have to try and get ahead of Parabolica, I'd say, if he can actually get ahead that early. And then pretty much just drive it as tight as possible, try and overtake in a way that slows Barry down enough on the apex that he can't use his acceleration advantage. And I'd say right now he's playing with a stacked deck against him.
I agree. I think for Maxwell, I think he's going to struggle here. He's going to have to try. Well, I don't know. Even if he gets in front, can he hold it? That's going to be the question. Has he got the pace to even hold it? Does he need the draft to stay with James Barry? That's another question that we've got to look at. Maxwell might need the draft to be able to even keep up pace, but we're going to find out. It's going to be the final lap very shortly.
He's also weaving out of slipstream quite a bit here, so I think he probably has the pace. He has the driving talent for sure, but obviously with the damage, it's up a certain creek without a pedal pretty much, and right now he just has to make do swimming against the flow of the river pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's closing in now. It's got some overspeed now, but can he afford to do anything with it from Maxwell? Surely he can get close. So surely he's got to take a run at him going into that Parabolica, isn't he? Phil Glover got close then as well, but didn't quite make it enough with Seth Brown. Unfortunately for Phil on that one. Surely, even if it's just a second, you would have thought he would have had a go. Have a go at going into that final corner, because you've got nothing to lose. We're on the final lap. Edwards is going to wrap the win up.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure he's going to have a go. I mean, all of them are racers in the end. But if that go is going to be enough, we'll see that in just a few corners' time. He's sticking right on his tail. Very, very clean, of course. And now Barry's actually going for the defensive move, but he isn't following suit, so...
They're lifting.
Really, really odd.
They're lifting. Both of them lifted. Barry tried to lift to allow Maxwell through. Maxwell lifted to turn and say, no, I'm not coming through. You're going to have me attack you on this final corner, and you're going to either like it or you're going to lump it.
There we go.
There's the two moves. What's Maxwell going to be able to do? He pulls out. Has he got the pace to complete this move around the outside? Simon Edwards is going to come over the line. He's going to wrap up the win. In race number 2, Paul LeMay is going to take second place, but Barry and Maxwell, we're going to have another run down to the line here as well. Is it going to be Barry? It's going to be Barry again. Maxwell, I don't think had the pace. I don't think. When I said I think he needed the draft, I believe he actually did need that draft. David Beasley is going to come over the line with Michael LeMay and Paul Clark, who look like they've had their own little ding-dong throughout that race as well. So another, great race, great run down to the line, but I don't think Maxwell had the pace at the end.
Yeah, I think the main problem was, he was trying to go for the momentum line out of the corner, so a bit wider line, but wasn't quite able to, dive deep enough, so to say, He wasn't able to get enough overlap or enough ahead to actually profit from it enough with his presumed aero damage. So, yeah, Barry was able to basically just claw it back and... basically save that third place from Luke Maxwell. But despite it all, really great drive, really great battle from both of them. Really respectful with each other.
Yeah, here are the results from race number 2. Simon Edwards is your winner. Paul LeMay there in second place. James Barry did grab third ahead of Luke Maxwell. Then we've got George Gonzaga, Seth Brown, Phil Glover, Jamie Bird, David Beasley and Michael LeMay round out the top 10. Then you've got Paul Clark, and then the non-finishers are Mike Bousson, Graham Brown and Damien G. Graham Brown's system crashed, unfortunately. That's why he dropped out on that one. I tell you what, while it was sitting here, we could have a good old chat, I think, to Mr. Phil Glover here, and pull Phil into the booth and have a chat with Phil. Phil, welcome into the booth, dear sir. How are you?
Now then, James, I'm very well, thanks. Are you?
I'm all right, mate, but it's evening, not morning.
I say this morning.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I could do with a time machine at times.
Yeah, how was it out there? Monza looked fun.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I quite enjoyed it, actually. Usual thing, I was pretty slow in terms of qualifying. I think I qualified last, didn't I? So, but yeah, I think what did I finish on that one? 7th, was it? Or
It was, sir, yes, 7th.
yeah, halfway up the field, I guess. So that's not too bad.
I agree. I don't think that's too bad at all, to be honest with you. You know, you started down in 4th. How was it down at the pointy end of the grid for race number 2?
Yeah, usual thing. Everybody passed me, but well, not everybody, but yeah. No, I enjoyed it, and I didn't have a cold this week, so that made it a lot better.
Absolutely. So you're probably still sweating out, though, right?
It does feel a bit warm in here, actually, to be fair, but yeah. I probably need to twist the fans a little bit more onto me rather than passing by my shoulders, but yeah.
Good. Well done, Phil. Well, congratulations, buddy. You finished the race, finished inside the top 10, so I'm happy about that for you there, Bert, dear sir. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Usual crew, yourselves, and you know, anybody else who has a good go at it, really.
Awesome stuff. Phil, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next week. Should I tell you where you are, or do you know?
I don't think I know, but I know Road America's coming up.
Next
So
week.
what's next?
Road
Is
America.
it next week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, as you know, that's my star track, isn't it?
Yeah, that's your favourite there, Phil. So I expect to see great things coming out of you as well, all right?
Maybe I'll get some practice in.
Yes, that would help.
All right, buddy.
Take care, mate.
See you later.
See you, mate.
See you, bye.
Right, next up on the list is your winner of race 1. Takes the 3rd in race 2 after a hard-fought battle with Mr. Luke Maxwell towards the end of the race. But it is your defending champion coming into the booth to have a chat with us here, Mr. James Barry. Good evening, James. How are you?
In need of a shower.
I can imagine. Tough out there?
Yeah. Yeah, tough. Yeah, in the second race, you know, the start of the race, like it's just chaos. Just making my way through it, and I saw like Simon streaking away through the field. You know, obviously he's kind of my rival in the championship. I was down, I think, second to last at one point, so tough. But then I was battling as well with Seth. I know in the mid race, and George close behind us, so it was tough getting past him and getting him to stop fighting with me. And yeah, I mean, in the end, it worked out quite well.
How do you see the incident with Mr. Bousson?
Well, I just remember that he slowed down kind of unexpectedly. I have to watch it back, but I think he had a bit of a moment over the curb and kind of slowed down suddenly, and so I didn't have enough time to react. I did slow down more than usual, but I still ended up tapping him. So I don't think it was my fault, but I'll have a look back. So. Yeah,
he did get a little bit of a slide on going into the corner there as well. So, you know, fair play. Like we said, you didn't really have anywhere to go. You're not a cat. You're not quite that quick. No, I'm James, not. You know what I mean? Going on to Road America next week, mate. How do you see that one working out? It's going to be a very draft heavy circuit again, do you think? Yeah, it's similar to here in many ways, like lots of draft, and coming back from P9 or P10, if I can be there, it's really difficult. So I remember last season, we had the last race of the season there, and I got taken out in the first race, or I took myself out, you could say. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Okay, mate. Well, I suppose my final question, Do you think you can defend the championship?
Yeah, I'm still close in the standings, but last week, even though I won the feature race, Simon gained points on me through his Zero X's, and this week he's gained a few more points on me. So we'll see. I mean, I have to gain back the points at some point, so let's see.
Have to get them Zero X's in there, James. Have to get them Zero X's in.
Yeah.
Tough, isn't it? So there you go. Right, young sir, is there anyone else normal you want to give a shout out before we let you go?
No, not really. Just shout out everyone in the league. So thanks.
All right, mate. Have a good one, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers. Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, no, hold on. Where are you gone? There we go. Let's bring the man the man in himself. Third in race 1, just. Winner in race 2 by quite a mile. Simon Edwards, you're just unstoppable in race 2. Welcome in, bud.
Hi. I really enjoy Monza. I always do. I love the chaos of it, to be honest with you.
See, we talked about that before we started, Simon, to be fair. We said, if this was an official, I would expect nobody, probably after grid, to be out in the first corner. Now, you guys are a bit smarter than that. That race 1, though, it was quite tough on you three at the front. It was a sort of very much chess, cat and mouse kind of game towards the end.
Yeah, well, first of all, I had that moment where you look at your marker board and you go, that doesn't look like the marker board that I break at. Into T1. oh, what's it? So I was looking to get back to them. But yeah, I just sort of mistimed it. I think I could have got them. I mistimed it.
I mean, yeah, you did mistime it as well. I can imagine the whoopsie daisy probably come out, did it, on that one?
Oh, on the braking, yeah. Why are they suddenly going backwards? Oh, that's not the marker board.
Yes, probably not a good one. But listen, race 2, a lot more easier. Probably helped by the fact that, Luke and Paul didn't do themselves, well, Luke didn't do Paul any favours, should we say, and they ended up coming together. But a great win for you nevertheless, comfortable, more comfortable than race 1.
Yeah, definitely. I was just going to let people pass, and I was going to pass. I wasn't going to close any doors until the last couple of laps. So I thought that's what was going to happen there, that Paul was going to pass me, and that either Luke was going to stay behind me or challenge me into the corner, but even a bit further than that. So I thought, well, that's my race now. Just don't make a mistake. Yeah.
How did you get on with your Zero X's? Did you have any over the two?
I got the first. Believe it or not, if you go through that chicane, you don't get a 1X.
No, you just get it's like 2.5 second slowdown or something ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2.5 second slowdown, no 1X. So I got a 0X in the first race, and then I got a 1X off somebody else's 0X, if you know what I mean. I got a tiny touch in the back, I think, and somebody then took a 1X, which then transfers to you. So I could have made it 0X in that second race. I tried to go for a fastest lap on the last lap, and I 1X'd anyway, so...
Oh, okay. Well, listen, it was a great sitting here and great racing as always. Road America next week. We know how that's going to be, don't we? Draft track again, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not here. I noticed that Luke posted in the Discord. He says, "Just Simon never go on holiday."
Yes.
So Simon is on holiday next week. So everybody else can have the chaos of Road America. I'm off to the Edinburgh Festival.
Oh, nice. Let's hope it's sunny and you don't get every form of weather system I got when I went up to Edinburgh.
Yeah, luckily I've got an apartment actually on the Royal Mile, right in the middle of it all. So I can literally just run between venues.
Oh, very nice. Well, sounds like you're going to have great fun, Mr. Edwards. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, I'll shout out Paul there because he got unlucky. We would have been stuck together until the end of that race. It could have been his, could have been Luke's, could have been mine. So I'll give it a shout out to Paul for an unlucky situation. At least he got second, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. But he did well. Bless him, he did really well. But Simon, pleasure talking to you. Enjoy Edinburgh next week there, sir. And we'll look forward to seeing you the week after that.
Yep, I'll watch the broadcast.
Man. Take care. Bye.
See you.
Okay, so I feel somewhere out of that, Nico. Now, I'm gonna be really nitpicky here. We had Phil Glover, who's always smiling. He's always happy. He doesn't care where he finishes. He's just had a good race. You know what I mean? That's Phil. James didn't sound too happy. Now, he weren't his normal self, James, on that one. I sensed something within him there. And Simon just seemed quite jolly about the fact that he'd won the race. So, tough interview section on that one.
I mean, I think it's only natural because, they are each other's rivals pretty much. It went very well this week for Simon. And James, of course, feeling, well, he's feeling his the hot breath of his rival on his back. He's not getting a moment to rest. And especially with today's round, even though we have these 3 drop rounds, you don't want to have to rely on the drop rounds. You want to ideally have a championship so good that even without the drop rounds, you can feel safe.
Yeah, I agree. But Simon's not here next week. Obviously, 0x is obviously going to give him on that one. So, we'll see how that one works out. But I think overall, it's been a very interesting evening of racing. And I think that one that's, was it a classic? No. Did we see some great finishes? Absolutely. Race 1, 3 wide, split by barely 3 tenths of a second. And race 2 between James Barry and Luke Maxwell. So great evening of racing all round. I think that's going to just about wrap it up here, guys. So thanks so much to everybody that's joined me. Of course, I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Nicolas Hilleband once more. And as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we may see you on the track sometime. Good night.